Hey y'all, Chelsea and Danny here.
Enjoy this episode of Today's Homeowner here on YouTube. This week, Today's Homeowner is on the road in Minnesota checking out homeowner hacks with our friends at the Family Handyman magazine.
That's about the ugliest hack I've seen in a while.
Well, it hurts, frankly.
If you own a home for very long, you learn to solve problems, and you hope you can do it quickly and inexpensively. So we've made helping you solve those problems one of our goals here at Today's Homeowner. It's a goal we have in common with our friends at the magazine Family Handyman. On our show, we call them simple solutions. At Family Handyman, they call them handy hints, but you may know them by the popular buzzword hacks.
Over the last few weeks, Alan and I have been meeting with our friends at Family Handyman, and we have put together a fantastic list of home hacks. And what better place to share them with you than here at the studio headquarters of Family Handyman.
Based in Eagan, Minnesota, just outside St. Paul, the Family Handyman has been in publication since 1951, and Ken Collier has been here for the last 30 of those years.
Handy Hints was there when I started, and it's still in the magazine, and all through that time, it's been the most popular department in the magazine. Regular homeowners come up with a great idea for how to improvise a tool, solve a problem, reuse something that's left over from some household chore, whatever. But it's that light bulb moment for a homeowner, and that's what readers really love.
Our audience seems to feel the same way because our Simple Solution segment, hosted by Joe Truini, is always a viewer favorite.
I think a simple solution really is nothing more than a hint or a tip that allows homeowners to work either faster, safer, to do a chore less expensively. And I think that's the key to any really good simple solution is like a light bulb goes off in someone's head when they hear it. It's like, yeah, that's a great idea, and I'm going to use it next time I'm painting or cleaning or whatever it happens to be.
Whether you call them solutions, hints, or hacks, we've got the perfect place to explore them in the studio.
I'm loving this. I mean, every time I walk around another corner, there's a new set. This is fantastic.
There are also some kindred spirits here in our hosts from the magazine, Travis Larson and Spike Carlsen. These guys know their stuff, and they like to have a little fun. But ultimately, we're here to talk about hacks.
Our version of home hacks is called Handy Hints, which is a department we've had for about 30 years now, right?
Yeah.
And it's by far our biggest 2 pages every single issue.
How many a month?
I'd say we get 30, 40 a month. They used to come in the mail, now they come email.
But you got to admit now, guys, there are good hacks and there are bad hacks.
Oh, yeah.
They'll run from the ridiculous to the sublime.
Right.
I think my favorite handy hint came from a fellow who was having trouble with squirrels in the attic.
Right.
And his hint was to take an extension cord, cut off the end, wrap a 16-penny nail around each wire, and then put that in the opening where the squirrel comes in, plug it in. When the squirrel comes in, it completes the circuit. You know, so there's the hint. But 2 weeks later, we get an envelope saying, open immediately. And we open it and it says, don't run tip, house burned down.
Of course, we probably don't have to say it, but don't try that at home.
Since the kitchen seems to be a popular location for hacks, that's where we get started.
Travis, I love this drawer in a drawer. It just makes a lot of sense.
Well, it does make a lot of sense, and the reason it makes a lot of sense is that most things that you store in a kitchen drawer are very short. So it makes sense that you can double up a deep drawer like this and get more thin stuff on top of it. So we put this other drawer in here, and that's how that's what it's for, is thin stuff.
Well, I like the construction of this. It looks fairly simple. I don't see any miters or a dovetail.
No, it's very simple. There's no fancy joinery here at all. It's just all butt joints, and it's glued and pinned together.
What'd you use on the sides here? Is that just a little shelf clips?
These are shelf pins. They're the same type of shelf pins that support the cabinet shelves.
I got you, yeah.
That's all it is.
That's pretty good. It slides real easy.
It's kind of a waste of time to make drawers that thick because you're not going to use the top 2/3. It's a great way to double up your storage space.
And I know you appreciate being able to kind of utilize some of the things you may have laying around in the shop, like the scraps you use there. This is another good example with the need for message boards in a family kitchen. You know, you hate to put all of that stuff on the front of a refrigerator these days.
Plus, most refrigerators now are stainless steel, so you can't use refrigerator magnets anymore. So you need spaces like this.
One of the spaces that is so underutilized is really on the sink.
A lot of different hacks.
Well, think about it. All the plumbing's in the way, so everything they make the little slide-out switch work. Yeah. But something you and Chelsea did, I really like this. Travis, they took a tension rod, just a regular tension rod, and put up to the top toward the front. And you know, things like this with bottles of cleaning fluid. Sure. That just hooks over on that tension rod. Really great.
And then you have the space underneath it.
Exactly.
But I gotta ask you, Travis, are you concerned with theft around here? I see a padlock here. You're gonna have to explain that one.
These are pretty expensive now. The truth is, there's a counterweight on the hose inside the cabinet, and it's not always enough weight. So if you've got an old padlock laying around, you can just saddle it up right next door to that counterweight that's existing, and that might just do the trick.
What a great idea. Adding just a padlock that you never use again, brilliant.
Window blinds are great because they allow you to control how much privacy and how much light you let into a room. The problem is, how do you clean them and clean them easily? They do make special pads and cleaners that reach in and get each and every slat, but they cost like $5 to $10 and even more for some models. But you can make one easily enough if you have food tongs, just simple everyday kitchen tongs. Just take a sponge and use scissors to cut it. 2 pads slightly wider than the end of the tong. Then just lash them on with a rubber band. That's all you need. Then dip it into some nice warm water. You can use cleanser too, but I found warm water works just as well. And then it's simply a matter of grabbing hold of the slat with the tongs and just wiping. It doesn't take very much pressure. You're just wiping off dust and dirt. It's really not caked on very well. It's just a buildup that gets circulated through the air and it settles on these slats. You can see after just doing 4 or 5 slats, how much dirt's come off. You see that? Both of them. And then you just rinse it, and you can come back, and of course you want to do both sides from top to bottom. If you do this at least twice a year, you'd be surprised how clean your blinds will be.
This week we're exploring homeowner hacks with our friends from the Family Handyman magazine inside their studios in Minnesota.
You know, many homeowners are challenged with small bathrooms and the storage problems that come along with it. Well, Spike and I have a few storage bathroom hacks that can really help you out if you're in that situation. So, Spike, so you're stocking up on your reading material.
Yeah, for a lot of people, the bathroom is the auxiliary library, but you can do a lot more than store magazines with one of these magazine organizers.
Yeah, no, those are great for keeping up with all of the magazines and stacking them up on the shelf, but I love this hack to be able to use that for another purpose, organizing all of these, let's say, bathroom accessories everybody seems to have now.
Yeah, I mean, so many people, you're kind of hemmed in with your bathroom. You got 9 foot by 5 foot, you can't go left, you can't go right, you can't go up, you can't go down, so you just got to make good use of the space you have.
Yeah, kind of utilizing, let's say, the cubic footage you have inside the cabinet like this. So, well, that's perfect. So we're just going to attach that to the inside. I also see a great little tip you've done here in making sure that you kind of gauge how deep we drill the screw hole so that you're not going through. We've all seen people mount something on the inside. That looks great. Close the door and you see the screw sticking out. That's no fun.
Exactly, yeah. So that tape will just tell you how deep to go and you'll be great.
All right, perfect. Tell you what, let me go ahead and put that screw right on in. That'll hold it for us. Yep.
Are we looking straight there?
Let's see. Want to pull it up just a tad right there. And that's all we need right there. So
Perfect. Perfect.
People are going to see that and they'll go, hey, it's perfect for the hair dryer or perfect for something else they may have. Is this the brand curling iron you prefer?
It is, absolutely. I think that magazine rack is a perfect example of using an everyday object for an extraordinary use.
You know, also some of the kitchen storage things, a lot of people might not even think about using those ideas in a bathroom.
Yeah, you know, you have the tilt front sink where people usually keep their scrubbies. That's great for toothbrushes and toothpaste.
When you talk about storage hacks, you have to look at the closet.
Well, Travis, I bet you get as many requests as we do from people looking for ideas for closet storage.
One of our biggest storage issues, we do them all the time. We just went to the home center and bought these pre-drilled shelving units, and we just cut it up and sliced and diced it and put it all together. So this is completely self-built.
Great idea. But let me ask you this, now, in honest opinion, what did you think of the idea of taking crown molding, and making a shoe rack of it.
Well, what did I think about it? I think if you got a lot of high heels, it's a fantastic idea. I don't. Maybe you do, Alan.
It's a unique concept. I like it.
Well, it is, and it's actually quite simple. The heels hook over the crown molding itself.
Exactly. Does it work in every instance? Probably not. But I still like the idea.
And this board is just simple, wide Princeton base. So the crown molding is just pinned and glued to the base, and that's that simple.
One thing I don't like is wire shelving in the closet. I just don't like it. So taking that shelving out, creating something like this works, but I really like what you've done with the wire shelving here.
Yeah, you know, wire shelving has a lot of different uses, and this is one of them. Almost every closet has a dead space on either side of the door for this kind of storage.
In a lot of cases, you've got maybe 4 inches there. That's a brilliant idea. You know Bill Nye, right? Of course. Bill Nye, the science guy. We were at Bill's house, and Bill, in his garage, loves wire shelving, but he puts it up high, all right? Yeah. And there's where he stores his paint cans, but he writes on the labels on the bottom of the paint can, and then takes the stick, just kind of slides it out and catches it. That's Bill.
Yeah, well, that's why he's the science guy.
That's right.
Not.
But sometimes it's important to not see what you're storing.
Well, Spike, this hack is really hidden.
Well, then it's doing its job, because sometimes you want things to be hidden.
Sure.
And one of those things is the wireless router. And what we have done is hidden that right behind this innocent-looking group of books. What we did was we cut the spine off of 3 or 4 books, left the cover on a front and back cover on a couple other books, and then we used hot melt glue to glue those to this just simple box, keep it taller on the front to support the books, and cut a hole in the back for your wires.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense, and the router has to be somewhat in a center area of the home for it to work as well as it should. And these books are so cheap now. You can pick these up for next to nothing, can't you?
Yeah, you know, you go to your Goodwill or your public library book sale, and you can get this, your raw materials maybe cost you $1.
Right, that's pretty cool.
When I added handy hints, I always looked for something that was clever and had a little wow factor, like when you showed it to your friends, they'd go, wow. And so I think that this router disguise book project, it fits all those categories.
You know, if you're looking to update the look of your bathroom or your shower, changing out the fixtures is a very easy way to do that, because look at all the options, the styles, the finishes are great. And you know, changing out your shower head is pretty simple. You take the old one off or you can put the new one on. But when it comes to the valves, a lot of people start to get a little nervous thinking, oh, I got to call in a plumber. How much is that going to cost? Well, you know what? It's really not going to cost that much, because Danco's come out with a trim kit that you can put on yourself. Now, the trim kit comes with 2 different handles, and let me show you these. You probably recognize this one. This is nice, and it's a little dated though. You probably saw this in the 70s, 80s, 90s. It is sparkly, but the thing is it will get mold and mildew behind it, so you have to take it off from time to time to clean it. But this kit also comes with the newer look, which is the lever, and once you pop this back plate on, you pop the handle on, and you're ready to go. So you don't have to have a plumber come out, so you're going to spend a fraction of the cost of what a service call for a plumber would be.
The garage is an area that you find a lot of homeowner hacks to maximize all the storage space. And Travis, this is a really good one.
Well, it is, and every garage, almost every garage, has open stud spaces like this that have an amazing amount of storage space. And it can be as simple as putting a 1x4 over the studs, and that gives you a way to store long things like canoe paddles and fishing rods, things like that.
Sure, when you think about it, there's a lot of space in a garage that you can use like that, but what have you found to take care of this inevitable problem if you got kids in the house?
Well, most people buy those giant Tupperware containers, and you know, they rarely fit all the balls, and the balls never get put back, and the one that you want is always at the bottom, right?
Of course. But I found one idea here. I had Josh, your shop carpenter, build us up a couple little boxes here out of some scrap wood, and thought that if you could help me put this together. Now, I'm using a cordless drill. It's probably good we're not using any electricity here.
Well, this is a set, you know, this is where we take photographs. So this looks good from here down, but there up,
not so much.
We're attaching one of the boxes at the base of the wall and the other about 5 feet up inside the same stud bay. Next, we hook bungee cords into the holes that were drilled into the faces of the boxes and pull them tight. This creates a flexible cage that will contain a lot of balls in a variety of sizes.
Looks pretty good, huh?
I like it.
But for most homeowners, painting hacks are by far the most popular.
So Travis, I'm curious, is this going to be a tip that you've got from a reader, or is it one of your own?
Actually, it's one of my own. I'm a longtime woodworker, and I do a lot of oil-based varnish.
We're looking at his coffee can with these cuts in it and holding those brushes up. I think, what a great idea. And then he opens it.
This is kind of ugly. But this is what I've been doing for the last 15 years.
Oh, wait a minute, why is this a tip? I don't understand the hack here.
This is filled with mineral spirits.
Okay.
I hate cleaning brushes, and if you've done it before, you know it takes a lot of mineral spirits, and you never get them quite clean, so they get stiff. Well, these don't get stiff.
It stays pliable, it doesn't get stiff?
It's beautiful. Plus, it's kind of pre-moistened, obviously, with mineral spirits, which is a good idea when you're going to varnish.
Good.
So,
Medium.
Well,
that's what I do.
That's about the ugliest hack I've seen in a while.
Well, it hurts, frankly. Just kidding. You know, it's pretty gross, I have to admit, but it is gelled polyurethane finish, and that's what it looks like when it soaks.
Another one I have here. Right, you know how you're painting out of a gallon can here, and you're taking it and you're wiping the excess paint on the edges, and how that'll just cake up there no matter what you do. Well, just take a simple rubber band like this, and then as you're needing to get the excess off, you're using that, and that way it protects the lid so that you can seal that paint can up. Again, saving you money on paint down the road.
I like it. What have you got here?
Well, you know, neatness seems to be a theme here, and, you know, stirring it is another thing. So a great little tip is drill a hole in the top of the can, put your mixing paddle in there, and then chuck that in your drill and use that to mix your paint. You know, it keeps the splash off the floor.
I have seen that on like when we did asphalt sealer.
Oh, well, that's the 5
and you
gallons.
have to mix that 5-gallon sealer up and then get the big drill and the big paddle, and man, that could save a lot of mess right there.
Great idea, I like that.
I think a lot of painting is just, you know, keeping the paint where you want it to go, which is usually on the wall. And when you're stirring it, it often winds up on the floor. Another neat thing is you know, when you're using a long nap roller, just to avoid any fuzz getting on your wall, just take a lint roller and just give it a quick once over, and that'll keep the fuzz off your wall. So just another
I've
way.
seen that done also where, you know, not everybody has a lint roller in their shop.
Right.
Duct tape.
Duct tape,
Right backwards.
Yeah.
Beginning DIYers often ask about hacks to easily handle chores that have to be done multiple times in the process of completing a project. The answer is something called a jig. For example, a stop block jig can clamp to a miter saw to allow you to make numerous cuts at exactly the same length again and again. It even makes cutting multiple pieces at the same time possible. Multiple cuts along the length of a board or rip cuts are best made on a table saw, but you can also make them with a circular saw by clamping a 1x2 to the saw shoe parallel to the blade. The 1x2 acts as a guide to offset the blade the perfect distance from the edge. Installing cabinet hardware can be simplified with an L-shaped jig made from several small pieces of wood. This allows you to drill holes for hardware in the exact same spot on every door, no matter which way it swings. Whether you call them solutions, hints, or hacks, this week we've covered about 20 of them from all over the house. But these guys aren't done yet.
You know, one of my favorite tips is when you drop a little screw or a little something on the floor, you'll never find it. Take a flashlight, lay it on the floor, scan it, and it'll cast a big shadow. And that's the kind of thing, it doesn't cost you any money. It's a great tip. I probably use it once a month.
Any tip that works is a good tip. If it solves a problem for somebody, it solves a problem. We sit around and talk about handy hints, and I always want to have at least 3 people involved when we decide what tips we're going to run in the magazine, because a tip I think is really dumb, other people think is brilliant.
I think one of the great appeals to handy hints and hacks is that you're kind of outsmarting Mother Nature a little bit, and anytime you can do that and save a little money, look a little clever, look a little smart, that's a great place to be.
So this was a little bit of a different type of show, because usually we're in a real home like yours, working with real homeowners just like you, but we saw this as such a great opportunity to get together with our friends here at Family Handyman and put together one of the best lists of home hacks you'll find anywhere. I'm Danny Lipford. We'll see you next week right here on Today's Homeowner.
I will not participate.
Thanks for watching this episode of Today's Homeowner. And don't forget to like, comment, and hit the bell icon so that you'll be notified of new videos.
And be sure to click around and watch some more videos while you're here.